Rain hammered against the floor-to-ceiling windows of the hospital as one of the most powerful men in South Korea stood frozen outside a private room. Kang Jimin, the billionaire CEO, the feared Mafia boss whose name alone made politicians nervous and business rivals lose sleep. The man who had spent years believing he would never become a father. Yet inside that room, two newborn babies were crying. Twins, a boy and a girl. And the woman holding them was not a socialite. She was not the daughter of a wealthy family. She was not one of the countless women who had chased his money, his influence, or his last name. She was his maid, Aaliyah, the quiet African woman who had entered his mansion years earlier with nothing but determination and dignity. Tears filled Aaliyah's eyes as she looked at the twins sleeping peacefully beside her. But the joy in the room lasted only seconds. Because just outside the hospital, rumors had already begun spreading. The babies weren't his. The maid had cheated. The children belonged to another man. And powerful people were determined to destroy the small family before it even had a chance to exist. What nobody knew was that the truth hidden behind those twins would shake an empire. And what happened next would change Kang Jimin forever. If you love Korean billionaire romance and mafia love stories like this, subscribe now to Official_Threads and turn on notifications so you never miss our next story. Years earlier, before the twins, before the love, before the rumors, Aaliyah stood in front of the enormous gates of the Kang estate. The mansion looked less like a home and more like a palace. Black luxury vehicles lined the driveway. Security guards stood at every entrance. Beautiful gardens stretched endlessly around the property. Everything about the estate screamed power. And power was something Aaliyah had never possessed. She adjusted her modest uniform and took a nervous breath. This was her first day. The head housekeeper had warned her. Never make eye contact with Mr. Kang unless he speaks first. Aaliyah thought that sounded ridiculous. How bad could one man be? A few hours later she found out. The mansion operated with military precision. Every employee moved quickly and quietly. Nobody laughed. Nobody lingered. Nobody made mistakes. And the reason was simple. Kang Jimin. Even before seeing him, Aaliyah felt his presence. People lowered their voices whenever his name was mentioned. Some employees seemed genuinely afraid of him. Late that evening, she finally saw him. He walked through the grand entrance wearing a black tailored suit. Tall, handsome, sharp features, dark eyes that revealed absolutely nothing. The entire room immediately became silent. Aaliyah understood why. He didn't merely enter a room. He controlled it, without saying a single word. As she carried a tray of tea toward the study, she accidentally bumped into a corner table. A small decorative vase tilted dangerously. Before it could fall, she caught it. Unfortunately, some tea spilled onto the floor. The room became silent. Several employees looked horrified. Aaliyah turned and found herself face to face with Kang Jimin. For a moment, neither spoke. His cold gaze settled on her, then on the spilled tea, then back to her. You are new. His voice was calm, which somehow made it more intimidating. Yes, sir. Clean it. Aaliyah nodded. But before she could kneel down, he had already walked away. That was it. No yelling. No punishment. Yet somehow she felt more nervous than if he had shouted. What she didn't know was that Jimin had noticed something unusual. Most people looked terrified around him. Aaliyah looked nervous, but not terrified. The difference intrigued him. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. Aaliyah slowly adjusted to life inside the mansion. She worked harder than anyone else. Never complained. Never gossiped. Never tried to gain favors. While many employees dreamed of attracting the billionaire's attention, Aaliyah avoided it whenever possible. Ironically, that was exactly what made her stand out. One evening, Jimin returned home later than usual. A major business meeting had ended badly. Investors were pressuring him. Competitors were becoming aggressive. The stress sat heavily on his shoulders. As he entered the library, he noticed the light still on. Aaliyah sat alone reading a book while waiting for laundry to finish. The moment she saw him, she stood up. I'm sorry, sir. Instead of leaving, Jimin glanced at the book. You read often? Aaliyah blinked. The question surprised her. Whenever I can. What are you reading? She showed him the cover. To her shock, he actually recognized it. For several minutes, they discussed the book. It was the longest conversation they had ever shared. And for the first time, Jimin saw her smile. A genuine smile. Not a nervous employee smile. Not a polite smile. A real one. Something strange happened inside him. A feeling he had not experienced in years. Peace. Meanwhile, Danger was already approaching. Many people wanted access to Kang Jimin's wealth. Over the years, countless women had tried to become part of his life. But every relationship ended the same way. Disappointment. The moment they learned he could never have children, they left. Doctors had confirmed it years earlier after a serious medical condition. There was almost no possibility of him becoming a father. The diagnosis had destroyed something inside him. Although he rarely showed emotions, the truth haunted him. His family name would end with him. His future children would never exist. And eventually he stopped believing in love altogether. Aaliyah knew nothing about this. One rainy evening, she found him sitting alone in the garden pavilion. The storm reflected his mood. Dark, quiet, heavy. She considered walking away, but something stopped her. Carefully, she placed a cup of tea beside him. Neither spoke. Minutes passed. Finally, Jimin said something unexpected. "Why are you still here?" Aaliyah looked confused. "I work here." "No. Why are you still working here?" She smiled softly. "Because this place gave me an opportunity. You could earn more elsewhere. Money isn't everything." Jimin almost laughed. Nobody ever said that around him. Everyone wanted money. Everyone chased money. Everyone worshipped money. Yet Aaliyah seemed different. That night their conversation lasted nearly 2 hours, and neither realized how important that moment would become. As months passed, their connection deepened naturally. No dramatic confessions. No sudden romance. Just two lonely people slowly understanding each other. Aaliyah learned that beneath Jimin's cold exterior was a man carrying enormous burdens. Jimin discovered that beneath Aaliyah's humble appearance was extraordinary strength. She listened without judging. She spoke honestly. She treated him like a human being instead of a powerful symbol. And for the first time in years, he found himself looking forward to coming home. But what happens next changes everything. The mansion staff began noticing. Not romance. Not yet. Something more subtle. Jimin smiled more often. He seemed calmer. Less distant. The changes were small, yet impossible to ignore. And unfortunately, not everyone liked what they saw. Several influential families had spent years trying to arrange marriages with Jimin. Their daughters wanted access to his fortune and influence. The moment rumors about a maid began spreading, jealousy followed. Aaliyah suddenly became the target of whispers. People mocked her, belittled her, questioned her intentions. She ignored all of it. But Jimin noticed. One afternoon, he overheard a guest insulting her. The guest laughed. A maid should know her place. The room became silent. Jimin's expression darkened. Then he calmly replied, "Perhaps people should learn their own place first." The guest never spoke about Aaliyah again. For Aaliyah, that moment changed something. Because for the first time, someone had defended her. Not because of obligation. Not because of charity. But because he genuinely cared. The realization frightened her. And excited her. At the same time, weeks later, during a charity event hosted at the estate, Aaliyah wore a simple, elegant dress provided by the staff. When Jimin saw her, he stopped walking. For several seconds, he simply stared. Aaliyah looked beautiful. Not because of the dress. Because of her confidence. Her kindness. Her warmth. Everything he had been missing. Something shifted between them that evening. Something neither could ignore anymore. And as the moonlight illuminated the gardens outside the mansion, Kang Jimin finally understood the truth he had spent years avoiding. He was falling in love. But neither of them knew that an even greater miracle was waiting ahead. A miracle that would challenge everything doctors believed. Everything Jimin believed. And everything their enemies feared. Because soon, the man who thought he could never become a father would receive news that would change his life forever. But that miracle would also awaken people determined to destroy it. And the first signs of that storm were already beginning to appear. The following weeks felt different. Neither Aaliyah nor Kang Jimin spoke openly about the feelings growing between them, yet the change was impossible to ignore. Every conversation lasted longer. Every glance carried meaning. Every moment together became something both secretly anticipated. And strangely, the intimidating billionaire who terrified business rivals across Asia found himself nervous whenever Aaliyah smiled at him. It made no sense. He had negotiated billion-dollar deals. He had built an empire. He had faced betrayal, corporate wars, and countless enemies. Yet one sincere smile from a woman working in his mansion could completely ruin his concentration. Aaliyah felt it too. She noticed herself looking forward to hearing his footsteps in the hallway. She noticed herself smiling whenever he entered a room. And she noticed how different he became when nobody else was around. The world knew Kang Jimin as a cold and untouchable man, but she knew something nobody else saw. He was lonely, painfully lonely. For years he had surrounded himself with people, employees, executives, business partners, bodyguards, yet almost nobody truly knew him. And somehow, without planning it, she had become the one person who did. One evening, after a long day of meetings, Jimin found Aaliyah arranging flowers in the main hall. He stood silently watching her. The way she focused, the way she hummed softly while working, the way she transformed ordinary things into something beautiful. For several moments, he simply watched. Then Aaliyah turned and nearly dropped the flowers. "You scared me." A rare smile appeared on his face. "You weren't paying attention. I was working. You were singing." Aaliyah laughed. The sound immediately filled the room. Jimin found himself staring again. The laughter felt warm, comforting, like home. And suddenly he understood something frightening. He couldn't imagine life without her anymore. Meanwhile, Aaliyah was beginning to face a battle she never expected. The more time Jimin spent with her, the more attention she attracted. Employees whispered. Socialites gossiped. Wealthy families watched carefully. Some people laughed at the idea. Others became angry, especially women who had spent years trying to become part of Jimin's life. Among them was Han Soo-jin, the daughter of a powerful business family. Beautiful, educated, ambitious, and convinced she deserved to marry Kang Jimin. For years she had pursued him. For years he had rejected her politely. Now she couldn't accept that a maid was receiving attention she had never been able to earn. And jealousy was slowly beginning to consume her. What she didn't know was that Jimin had already made a decision. A decision that would shock everyone. A few days later, he invited Aaliyah to join him for dinner. Not as an employee, not to discuss work, just dinner. Aaliyah was nervous. The invitation itself felt unreal. Yet she accepted. The private dining room overlooked a beautiful garden illuminated by golden lights. For the first few minutes, both seemed unusually quiet. Then Jimin spoke. "Do you know why I trust you?" Aaliyah shook her head. "Because you've never wanted anything from me." She looked surprised. "I have wanted things." His eyebrow lifted. "Like what?" "A better future. A stable life. People I care about being happy." She paused. "But none of those things require your money." Jimin stared at her. And once again she had said something nobody else ever said around him. That evening became one of the most important nights of their lives. Not because of grand gestures. Not because of luxury. But because of honesty. For the first time, Jimin told someone about his greatest pain. The diagnosis. The condition. The reason he believed he would never become a father. The reason he had avoided serious relationships for years. Aaliyah listened quietly. When he finished speaking, silence filled the room. Then she reached across the table and gently touched his hand. Not out of pity, not out of sympathy, out of understanding. "You think that makes you less worthy of love." Her words were soft, but they struck directly at his heart. Jimin looked away, because she was right. For years he had believed exactly that. Aaliyah squeezed his hand gently. "The right person won't love you because of children." She smiled. "They'll love you because you're you." Something inside him broke. Not painfully, peacefully. Years of emotional walls suddenly felt weaker. And for the first time in a very long time, hope entered his heart. Meanwhile, danger was already growing. Han Soo-jin had begun investigating Aaliyah. The more she learned, the angrier she became. She expected to find secrets, manipulation, a hidden agenda. Instead, she found a woman with integrity. A woman who genuinely cared about Jimin. And somehow that made her even more furious. Because it meant Aaliyah was everything she wasn't. Several weeks later, during a company celebration, Jimin shocked everyone. Instead of arriving alone, he arrived with Aaliyah. The room instantly fell silent. Executives stared. Investors stared. Reporters stared. Nobody could believe what they were seeing. Aaliyah looked elegant, confident, beautiful, and most importantly, she stood beside Jimin as an equal. Not as an employee, not as a servant, as someone important. The rumors exploded immediately. Within days, media outlets began speculating about their relationship. Social media discussions spread everywhere. Some people supported them. Others criticized them. But Jimin ignored all of it. For once, public opinion didn't matter. Only Aaliyah did. Months passed. Their relationship blossomed naturally. Morning conversations became daily routines. Evening walks became cherished moments. Small gestures became expressions of love. And eventually there came a night when neither could hide their feelings any longer. The mansion garden was quiet. Cherry blossoms danced in the wind. The city lights sparkled in the distance. Aaliyah stood near the fountain, lost in thought. Then she heard footsteps. Jimin. He stopped beside her. Neither spoke immediately. Neither needed to. The silence felt comfortable, familiar. Finally, he looked at her. His eyes carried emotions he rarely revealed. I spent years believing my life was complete. Aaliyah listened carefully. I had money. He smiled faintly. Power. Another pause. Success. His gaze softened. But I was wrong. Aaliyah's heart raced. Jimin took a slow breath. Because none of it meant anything until you arrived. Tears instantly filled her eyes. The confession was simple, yet powerful, honest, raw, beautiful. And before she could respond, he gently held her hand. Aaliyah. Her heartbeat thundered. I love you. The world seemed to stop. The wind, the sounds, everything disappeared. Only his voice remained. Aaliyah smiled through tears. The answer came effortlessly. I love you too. For the first time in years, Kang Jimin felt truly happy. Not successful, not powerful, happy. And that happiness only grew. Several months later, they married in a private ceremony attended by close friends and trusted associates. The wedding was elegant yet intimate. No excessive media coverage. No public spectacle. Just two people choosing each other. Many influential families were furious. Many socialites mocked the marriage. But Jimin couldn't have cared less. Aaliyah was his wife. That was all that mattered. The first year of marriage became the happiest period of his life. The mansion changed completely. Laughter replaced silence. Warmth replaced loneliness. Even employees noticed. The intimidating boss seemed more human, more approachable, more alive. For the first time, the estate truly felt like a home. Yet one shadow remained. Children. Neither spoke about it often, but the subject quietly lingered. Aaliyah knew how much the issue had hurt him. Jimin tried to hide it, but she could see it. Every time he watched families together. Every time he saw children playing. Every time someone mentioned heirs. The pain was still there. And because she loved him, she felt it too. Then one ordinary morning, everything changed. Aaliyah woke up feeling unusually tired. At first she ignored it. Then came dizziness. Then nausea. The symptoms continued for days. Finally, at the insistence of a family doctor, she agreed to undergo testing. She expected nothing unusual. Certainly not what happened next. Several hours later, the doctor entered the room looking stunned. Aaliyah immediately felt nervous. Is something wrong? The doctor stared at the results. Then at her. Then back at the results. Finally she smiled. No. Her voice trembled slightly. Actually, something is very right. Aaliyah frowned. The doctor's eyes glistened. Congratulations. Silence. A long silence. Then the words arrived. You're pregnant. Aaliyah froze. The room spun. Her heart pounded. For several seconds, she couldn't breathe. Pregnant? That wasn't possible. The doctors had said. No. Jimin's condition had made it nearly impossible. Not impossible, but almost. And yet, she was pregnant. Tears immediately filled her eyes. Meanwhile, across the city, Jimin sat inside a meeting completely unaware that his life was about to change forever. His phone rang repeatedly. He almost ignored it. Then he noticed it was Aaliyah. He answered immediately. The moment he heard her crying, panic exploded inside him. Aaliyah? She couldn't speak. Only tears. His heart dropped. What's wrong? Another silence. Then she finally whispered 3 words. 3 words that completely changed his world. I'm pregnant, Jimin. The billionaire froze. The meeting room disappeared. The conversation disappeared. Everything disappeared. Only those words remained. I'm pregnant. For several seconds he genuinely believed he had misheard. Then Aaliyah repeated it. And suddenly tears filled his own eyes. The feared Mafia boss, the powerful billionaire, the man who never showed weakness, was crying. Right there in front of executives who couldn't believe what they were seeing. Because after years of believing he would never become a father, a miracle had finally arrived. But what neither of them knew was that this miracle would soon attract enemies. People who feared losing influence. People who feared losing power. People who desperately wanted to destroy their happiness. And among those people, Han Soo-jin was preparing her next move. A move that would eventually threaten everything Aaliyah and Jimin had built together. And the worst part? The greatest surprise of all was still waiting ahead. Because months later, during a routine pregnancy appointment, The doctor would reveal news so shocking that even Jimin would struggle to believe it. News that would completely change the future of the Kong family forever. Aaliyah wasn't carrying one child. She was carrying two. The moment the doctor announced there were two babies instead of one, silence filled the examination room. Aaliyah blinked repeatedly. Surely she had heard wrong. Twins? The doctor laughed softly as she pointed toward the monitor. There are definitely two. Aaliyah's hands immediately covered her mouth. Tears began flowing before she could stop them. Across the room, Kong Jimin stood frozen. For years he had accepted a future without children. Then he discovered he would become a father. Now he was learning he would become the father of twins. The emotional shock was almost too much to process. For several moments, neither husband nor wife spoke. They simply stared at the monitor. Two tiny lives. Two tiny heartbeats. Two miracles. Jimin slowly walked closer. The powerful billionaire whose name carried influence across the country suddenly looked like a nervous young man experiencing life for the first time. His eyes remained fixed on the screen. Then a smile appeared. A real smile. The kind of smile that transformed his entire face. Aaliyah had rarely seen it. The doctor had certainly never seen it. And for the first time in many years, Kong Jimin looked completely free. Free from regrets. Free from loneliness. Free from the burden he had carried for so long. Meanwhile, outside that room, another person was receiving the same news. And unlike Jimin, she was furious. Han Soo-jin, the woman who had spent years believing she would eventually marry Kong Jimin. The woman who had never accepted Aaliyah. The woman whose jealousy had quietly grown into obsession. The moment she learned Aaliyah was pregnant with twins, something dark awakened inside her. Because she understood exactly what the babies represented. Permanence. Once children entered the picture, Aaliyah's place in Jimin's life would become impossible to challenge. The Kong family would finally have heirs. And Soo-jin's hopes would disappear forever. She couldn't accept that. And unfortunately, she wasn't the only one. Several powerful individuals who had hoped to benefit from Jimin's childless future felt threatened. For years they had positioned themselves strategically. Some expected business advantages. Others expected inheritance opportunities. A few even hoped to manipulate future leadership within his empire. The arrival of children changed everything. And people rarely surrender power peacefully. What they didn't know was that Jimin had never been more protective. As Aaliyah's pregnancy progressed, he became almost impossible to recognize. The cold billionaire transformed completely. He attended appointments, read parenting books, rearranged his schedule, canceled unnecessary meetings. He even shocked employees by personally preparing meals recommended by doctors. The mansion staff often exchanged amused looks. The same man who once intimidated everyone now spent hours debating baby names. Aaliyah loved watching it happen. Because beneath the power and reputation, she was finally seeing the father he was always meant to become. Months passed peacefully. The twins grew healthy. Aaliyah remained strong. And every day brought more excitement. The nursery became one of Jimin's favorite rooms. He often sat there quietly imagining the future. Tiny footsteps, birthday parties, family dinners, stories before bed, simple dreams. Dreams he once believed impossible. But happiness often attracts attention. And eventually the rumors began. At first they were small, harmless whispers, anonymous online comments, questions disguised as curiosity. Then the rumors became louder, crueler, more organized. People started questioning the pregnancy, questioning the timing, questioning Aaliyah herself. The accusations spread slowly. Then suddenly, the children weren't Jimin's. The maid had cheated. The pregnancy was suspicious. The billionaire was being manipulated. Nobody could explain where the stories originated. But they spread rapidly. And each day they became more damaging. Aaliyah tried to ignore them. She focused on her health, focused on the babies, focused on her family. But words have power, especially when repeated endlessly. Eventually, even trusted acquaintances began asking uncomfortable questions. Not because they believed the rumors, because they had heard them so often. And that hurt, more than Aaliyah wanted to admit. One evening she sat alone in the nursery staring at two unfinished cribs. Tears silently rolled down her cheeks. For months, she had experienced overwhelming joy. Now fear was slowly replacing it. Not fear for herself, fear for her children. Children who hadn't even entered the world yet. Jimin found her there. The moment he noticed her tears, concern filled his face. Aaliyah tried smiling, tried pretending everything was fine. But he knew her too well. Finally, she whispered the question haunting her heart. What if they never stop? Jimin understood immediately. The rumors, the accusations, the lies. For several seconds, he remained silent. Then he gently wiped away her tears. His voice remained calm. Certain. They can say whatever they want. Aaliyah looked at him. Jimin placed a hand over her stomach. Over the twins. Our family knows the truth. His eyes softened. And that's enough. Those words stayed with her. Because deep down she knew he meant every single one. Months later, the twins finally arrived. The birth was long, exhausting, emotional, yet beautiful. When the first cry echoed through the delivery room, Aaliyah burst into tears. Then came the second cry. The twins had arrived. A healthy baby boy. A healthy baby girl. The doctor placed them in Aaliyah's arms. For a moment she couldn't speak. The world seemed to disappear. Nothing mattered except the two tiny faces staring back at her. Then she looked toward Jimin. The sight nearly broke her heart. Because he was crying openly. Not trying to hide it. Not trying to remain strong. Just crying. Years of pain. Years of disappointment. Years of believing fatherhood would never happen. All of it released at once. The powerful billionaire carefully held his son, then his daughter. And in that moment, nothing else mattered. Not money. Not power. Not status. Only family. Unfortunately, happiness was short-lived. Within days of the twins' birth, the rumors exploded. Someone leaked photos. Someone shared fabricated stories. Someone intentionally fueled the accusations. This time the attacks became public. Cruel headlines appeared online. Comment sections became vicious. Anonymous sources claimed the children belonged to another man. The campaign was organized, deliberate, relentless. And eventually, Aaliyah discovered who was behind it. Han Soo-jin. The truth emerged through a private investigation conducted by one of Jimin's trusted advisors. Messages, payments, evidence. Everything pointed back to her. She had spent months financing rumors, manipulating media contacts, encouraging gossip, all with one goal. Destroy Aaliyah. Destroy the children. Destroy the family she could never have. When Jimin learned the truth, disappointment hit harder than anger. Because he realized how much bitterness could consume a person. Still, he refused to retaliate publicly. Instead, he chose something unexpected. The truth. Nothing more. Nothing less. Meanwhile, Soo-jin remained convinced her plan would succeed. She believed doubt would eventually destroy the marriage. She believed public pressure would weaken Aaliyah. She believed uncertainty would poison the family. What she didn't know was that her entire strategy was about to collapse. A few weeks later, an unexpected medical review occurred. The specialist who had diagnosed Jimin years earlier requested updated examinations. Advances in medical technology had revealed something shocking. The original diagnosis had been incomplete. The condition that supposedly made fatherhood impossible had actually been misinterpreted. The chances were extremely low, but never zero. The twins were not a miracle that defied science. They were proof that the original conclusion had been wrong. The specialists provided extensive documentation. Years of medical records were re-examined. Experts confirmed everything. And suddenly, every accusation began falling apart. Yet the most powerful proof wasn't medical. It was visible to everyone. The twins. As the babies grew older, similarities became impossible to ignore. The little boy had Jimin's eyes. The little girl had his smile. Their expressions. Their mannerisms. Even family members laughed about how obvious it was. The rumors slowly died, then disappeared entirely. The people who once spread accusations quietly moved on. Because lies survive only while uncertainty exists. The truth eventually catches up. As for Han Soo-jin, she found herself completely isolated. Not because Jimin sought revenge. Because people finally saw her actions clearly. The obsession, the jealousy, the cruelty. And once exposed, she lost the respect she had spent years building. Meanwhile, something beautiful was happening inside the Kang household. Life. Real life. The twins filled every corner of the mansion with energy. Laughter echoed through hallways that had once been silent. Toys appeared everywhere. Tiny footsteps raced through rooms. Family photos covered walls. Employees often smiled while watching the children play. Because they remembered the old mansion. The lonely mansion. The cold mansion. The empty mansion. Now it felt alive. One afternoon, several years later, Jimin sat in the garden watching the twins chase butterflies. Aaliyah sat beside him. The same garden where so many important moments had happened. The same garden where their journey had truly begun. The twins laughed as they ran through the flowers. Their happiness felt contagious. For several moments, neither husband nor wife spoke. Then Aaliyah rested her head against his shoulder. "Remember when you thought you'd never have children?" Jimin smiled. A thoughtful smile. A grateful smile. "I remember." His eyes followed the twins. "And now?" Aaliyah asked softly. Jimin looked toward his family. Toward the woman who changed his life. Toward the children who transformed his future. Then he answered, "Now I know life sometimes gives us blessings when we've already stopped expecting them." Aaliyah smiled, and together they watched the sunset. Not as a billionaire and a maid. Not as a powerful man and a humble woman. Not as people separated by status. But as a family. A family built on trust, patience, sacrifice, loyalty, and love. The kind of love that survives doubt. The kind of love that survives judgment. The kind of love that survives everything. This story reminds us that love is never measured by status, wealth, background, or public opinion. Kang Jimin spent years believing his greatest dream would never come true, while Aaliyah entered his life when he had already given up hope. Their journey shows that trust is stronger than rumors, loyalty is stronger than jealousy, and genuine love has the power to heal even the deepest wounds. Sometimes life's greatest blessings arrive when we least expect them, and the people who truly belong in our lives are the ones who stay beside us when everyone else doubts us. If you made it this far, let us know where you're watching from, and comment your favorite moment below, like this video, and subscribe to @Physial_Threads for more emotional Mafia love stories.